Well, hello everyone. This is a pretty exciting day for us here. In the last few broadcasts, you may have heard me alluding to a coming storm, and we are actually there. In my father's Bible today, I opened up Malachi 3, verse 16, and it says this: Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord, and that thought upon his name. We talk a lot about the fear of the Lord. I believe that God is restoring the fear of the Lord, and it certainly has needed to be restored, especially in this situation, Daystar. It's affected all of our lives, really. We've watched as broadcaster after broadcaster has left Daystar. Today, breaking news. Julie Royce has acquired basically the interrogation or the interview tapes done by the Colleyville police with respect to the SA of Jonathan and Susie's daughter. And all of those tapes have now been released. The reason that all of it was released, and you'll hear this later in some of the clips, is because when a case is closed, it leaves it so that Jonathan and Susie in particular would be able to get all of the evidence that had been submitted. So closing the case was not necessarily the best thing that could happen for Daystar, Joni Lamb, Joshua Brown, but it is the best thing that could happen for Jonathan and Susie and for the ongoing saga of Daystar. Julie Royce, of course, we appreciate so much all that she's done. And her continued diligence and courage to expose the truth. And so her exclusive videos that she has acquired are now there, and we'll also show the article that she's done. So let's get to it. And right here on the Roy's report, you will see that there is an exclusive. The Daystar couple tell the police their suspicions. The brother-in-law abused baby lamb. Pete's identity revealed. We no longer have to call him Pete. We haven't been for a while, but the Roy's report has made it official. We all know that Pete is Joshua Brown, the husband of Rachel, the brother-in-law to Jonathan and Susie, the one that was had a letter written about by JW and Rebecca. That is going to come up. And so Julie has now brought about an opportunity for us to see all of these interviews. And I will say then that there's a couple things I want to say right off the start. And that is that you are going to hear JW and Rebecca talk about Pete in ways which we have known, but we're unable to verify through their words. They call him a narcissist, basically a liar, and they say that they do believe that something went down. What will remain, and hopefully JW and Rebecca will come to terms and realize that they need to produce that letter that JW wrote. It needs to be put forward. You will see later in some of the clips that this presents a bit of a concern to the lawyer. And you will also see the lawyer of Joni Lamb basically not necessarily wanting the right thing done, but wanting protection, the cover-up culture. I'll start reading just a few things here before we get to the first clips. It's been almost a year since the Roy's report exposed Daystar TV's alleged cover-up of the sexual abuse of the young daughter of former Daystar executive Jonathan Lamb and his wife Susie. Since then, more than 24 broadcast ministries have left the Christian network, and the Lamb family dynasty has remained sharply divided. On one side are Jonathan and Susie, who brought abuse allegations against a family member whom TRR called Pete in its previous reporting. They are now saying it is Joshua Brown. Subsequently, the parents were fired from their jobs, Jonathan as Daystar vice president and Susie as co-host of a Daystar program the couple hosted together. On the other side, Jonathan's mother, Daystar president Joni Lamb, who's accused of orchestrating the cover-up to protect Pete. Seemingly aligning with her have been her daughters, Rachel Lamb, Brown and Rebecca Lamb Weiss and their spouses, all of whom are Daystar employees and appear routinely on network shows. What is going to become very evident, and as Julie Royce has stated, there's going to be another interview coming this week, and that is the cleaning lady of Joni Lamb, a nameless, faceless until now woman in the background who saw everything. She saw enough to know who's telling the truth and who's lying. And if you remember that whole part about where Joshua Brown was, Redwig says, he's up here, he's there. Redwig was telling us what Joshua Brown was saying. There's a person who saw it. Her name is Sylvia, and it looks like she is going to be having her day to speak, and it's going to be blockbuster. That's later this week. So for now, let's get started with the interviews of Rebecca and JW. There's 2 interviews that you will see. One where they are a little bit more guarded. The next interview, they seem to be willing to just share it all. Here we go.
You guys got any questions for me before we start? It'll be very quick and painless.
I don't think I have questions. I'm just grateful to you reach out because, we've wanted to do the right thing the whole time. This stuff has been going on from the very beginning. And so literally the last thing that we had felt, was what if we talked to somebody at the police department and we didn't even know how to do that. So we appreciate it.
And then you reached out to us. We're like, oh, perfect.
Yeah, it was good timing.
Well, yeah, I would have done it a little sooner, but I guess I kind of had the feeling like, of course it was inaccurate. I kind of had the feeling that you guys just didn't want to talk to me. Because I relayed messages, but after I asked you, when was the last time you talked to Jonathan and Susie, you said 18 months or so.
Yeah.
A very important point I want to make as we get started is this officer says, I want to make this quick and painless. We don't want it quick and painless. We want an interrogation that is thorough and truthful. It doesn't have to be quick or painless. And then he says, the officer then says, I would have maybe got in touch with you sooner, but it was kind of getting passed around or whatever. I want you to notice that through these interrogations, there is a lack of intensity. It's lackadaisical. It's like, oh yeah, we want this to be easy for everyone. No, this is very serious. And I'm concerned that this is where this has kind of gone wrong. I don't even understand, after hearing what we're about to hear today, why this is closed. I don't understand why this is closed with what we're going to hear and what the housekeeper knows, Sylvia. Okay? That's coming this week. But even with what JW and Rebecca are going to tell us, this should not be quick and easy. This should be thorough, and maybe it should take a little bit longer. So many questions that are needing to be asked never get asked, and that's alarming to me. Let's go to the next clip. We begin to get into some meat.
In 2020, that was 2020, when he said she walked in on me naked.
Yeah.
Was that?
That was weird.
Those two incidents.
That wasn't the Florida thing though, right?
No, that was a different
That was
Florida.
the year before.
In Florida.
So the 2 things, and then the other Florida.
The year
and then
before.
That's everything.
So there's 2 things in Florida, I guess. One in 2020, one in 2021. Okay, 2020 is when he said she walked in on him, and 21 is when he was allegedly watching her change her.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I would frame that.
Okay. That actually makes a lot more sense to me. So, let's see. You think that you guys still have a record of that Google Doc or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you think I'll be able to get it? Copy of it?
Yeah. We'll get that.
Okay. Yeah. No rush.
So I can give it to you right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how to.
Can you email it to you, I
You
guess?
should be able to. Yeah. I think.
Can you do that?
Sure.
From your phone?
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you want it CC to you?
yeah, if you don't mind. If
Sure.
you can just give him that and just CC it.
Sure.
Okay.
Again, it's nothing like formal. It was just kind of
Yeah,
like,
but-
this is.
Yeah.
I'm happy to share it. It was like, these are the things that we're in this family, right? And these are things that we have seen that we're concerned about, you know, and so it was just written out. I don't know. I never thought that it was going to see the light of day.
Well, this-
It is.
You were gathering your thoughts because we
I
were
really
like,
was.
we were trying to figure out, is there like, was this an accident or is there like, because we care
Yeah.
about her, we care about our kids. I mean,
And
we just
at
took
the
it
end of the day,
seriously.
despite like Josh's character and the way he's treated my wife and I
Yeah.
and like our family,
And our
we
own
have been, you know, professional and loving in the sense that we could have gone online and smeared him and like jumped on this a long time ago.
because he's wronged us.
But because we've never seen anything incriminating, we just kept it between us and the professionals, you know, you being one of them. And so it's like,
because it's like, I don't know for sure if he did
that's
or
one of the
not.
worst things you can be accused of.
And so I'm
and not
like,
be.
if you tell the whole world and it's not true,
Mm-hmm.
that's wrong.
You know, that's one of those things. I'm not here to. My job is not to find the people and make them go to jail or anything. My job is to hear everything, and if they're innocent, prove they're innocent. If they're guilty, prove they're guilty.
Yeah.
That's it. So, I mean, it's 50-50 thing. So.
And we want to know
I feel 50-50
the
on this.
truth. We want to know the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. I would too.
Yeah.
But this part of it is, you know, that letter keeps as a recurring theme. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't be any good at my job if I didn't even ask about it.
I guess my
Yeah.
request would be,
His email, he says, yeah.
Yeah.
if I do, or when I do send it, can we just agree to keep it private? Because the last thing I want is another thing online being sensationalizing, but I'm happy
Yeah,
that.
so the information that was released.
Okay, so I want to point out a couple of things. This is the first interview, January 21st. The next interview, they are a lot more forthcoming. In this interview, you just heard, you know, we want the truth. And he says, you know, we haven't really seen anything incriminating, but you will see that they absolutely have seen things that are incriminating. This interview, it seemed like Jonathan, JW, and Rebecca were, you know, wanting to be very careful. We don't want something to go out there that's not true. They realize that JW has written a letter that the police is saying, you know, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't, you know, ask you for that letter. Yes, you wouldn't be. That letter is very important. And you will see that they will produce the letter eventually. And they don't allow the police to have it. My encouragement at this point is JW and Rebecca, please do the right thing. I see their hearts actually. For the first time, I see sort of the predicament that they been put in, and that they want the truth. And if you will hear later, Rebecca saying, if Pete or Joshua Brown is a PEDO, we definitely want that outed and we want the truth told. On the other hand, you know, they're grappling with what they've seen and, you know, are we the ones bringing this forward? Yes, this is all extremely, extremely important. And you will see between this interview they're doing now and an interview that they are going to do in a week from this point, there's a bit of a difference in how they come across. All right, let's take a look at another clip.
So I'm really just interested in the stuff relevant to this stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
like, I know I'm joking about the Diet Coke thing, but if you have perhaps with Daystar, with all due respect, I don't care about Daystar and this whole thing. I just care about Ari. So,
Us too.
Us
We
too.
really care about. And I feel like at the end of the day, she's been the biggest.
Victim.
Yeah, in the sense that, I mean, whether or not something happened to her, you know,
Yeah,
this is gonna haunt her for a long time.
It
Just
is.
the internet, and so, and like, why are they doing it publicly like this is ridiculous to me. But
yeah, I agree with you that way that she's the victim of this whole thing. So,
Yeah.
regardless if she was a victim
that's
of
why-
sexual assault or not, and
Yeah.
whatnot. So.
when we saw the things that we saw, whether or not they were either just creepy and weird, or you know, we just went and told the parents immediately because like that's what I would want someone to do
Yeah.
if somebody saw something.
Exactly.
Wouldn't you?
Okay, so if we're able to stop that right there. Yeah, so now he's beginning, you know, he's saying, at first he's saying, you know, we didn't see anything, but whether these things are creepy, weird, it gets into the place where they do feel, you know, very, very alarmed at the actions of Joshua Brown. And I would have to say that, you know, they're saying why, and I'm going to be defending Jonathan and Susie this whole time because I do know the backstory. I do know why they did the things that they did. I do know why they've gone public, and that is because there was no support to get the help that they needed. until they did go public. They had to. This family was not going to deal with this, specifically coming from Joni Lamb at the top. From the moment that the child spoke to Joni Lamb, the child shut down. Joni Lamb did not want to go to the police. Susie said, I'm going to take the child to the police. Shut it down. This is the cover-up family of the century. That is why this had to go to this level. They have covered for Rachel repeatedly, and in all that JW and Rebecca have wanted to do, they could have done more. And I hope that they will do the right things going forward. I do see that they have a good heart. They do love the Lord. They even state that earlier in this interview. We love the Lord. They want to see the truth come out. And for goodness sakes, it's time for that letter to come out. Let's continue.
You have kids?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't
my-
be as level-headed as you, but
I don't think I was.
I don't know if he'll be level-headed.
Yeah.
It just wasn't our kid.
It wasn't my
As
kid.
an
So we
example,
had-
he told me if he saw anyone, his daughter like that, then he would
He
be
would have
criminal
gone ballistic.
defense attorney.
But he's not our kid. You know, we defer to the parents.
I
And you
wanted to
know,
respect their. Maybe
my-
they were cool with that.
well, no, my
Boundary-wise.
brother, you know, my brother eventually came to us and said, you know, I don't know if he did something or not, but I'm forgiving him and I'm dropping it.
really.
Yes. That's one of the reasons why we did. That's one of the reasons why we're like, okay, if you're letting it go, we haven't seen anything incriminating. There's nothing we can do. You're the parent. If that's your choice, we have to respect that.
And he told you that the same. Told you
Yeah,
the
he
same
told
thing.
me.
Did it more than
Separately.
once.
Because I remember going to him and I said something along the lines of like, you really don't think Josh did this? And he said, I don't know, but I know that I prayed over him, and when I prayed over him and forgave him, I felt that something break off of me. That's a direct quote. I felt something break off of me, and I'm moving on from that.
Yeah. And when I asked him, I was like, are you going to pursue this or deal, you know, he said, I don't know if he did it or not, but I forgive him regardless, and I'm letting it go. So I'm like, okay, that's his decision.
I was going to keep going around saying that Josh was weird. You know, the dynamics in the family are already terrible.
That's part of the thing too, is the interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, interpersonal relationships are difficult, and I have some insider knowledge regarding some of these things, and Jonathan and Susie, as soon as this incident happened, they go to Joni and Marcus at the beach house, and they are told, first of all, the culture, you forgive. You're a Christian, you forgive. We have no evidence. Rachel then tells Marcus that Pete Joshua Brown has been exonerated. Rachel lies. We know that now. Outright lies, because Debbie Lenhart and Denise Boggs have both been on this show saying that Josh Brown was never exonerated. So Rachel makes this whole thing up. She calls Marcus and says that Joshua Brown has been exonerated. From that point on, Marcus and Joni, there is extreme pressure all over Jonathan and Susie to forgive, to let this go, because we have no evidence. That is basically what they've been told. Until Jonathan and Susie get the truth. Once they get the truth, that is when all holy hell hits, because that is when they go to a social worker, basically, who then puts pressure on the police to open the investigation. Because prior to that, the police, they had tried, and the police didn't want to do anything about it. And this is where I say, I'm not understanding completely, except that Daystar's a bigwig in the Colleyville area. Daystar has all the money. Daystar has all the power. Daystar has the microphone. So that if the police are maybe doing something that they don't want, well, maybe there could be backlash against the police, except it's kind of going to be backlash for not doing it, because the microphones are now with the podcasters. And so, in essence, when JW and Rebecca are here saying, you know, that they didn't want to do anything, that Jonathan was saying he was trying to be forgiving, yeah, that's because he didn't have more. They didn't have the evidence. They didn't have the truth that Joshua Brown was never exonerated. And so that's sort of how it, got to that place. So we have the highlight reel, and we're going to play sort of the pivotal clips that I believe that you need to hear. So take a look.
That'd be cool if we all got along.
Yeah, that's what we wanted.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's been rough.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, especially with the little one too.
Yeah.
Can't be easy. Well, I guess most of the details I got about you guys, or questions I have about you guys, is from all the information that's being just shot out there.
Sure.
One of the things that was mentioned repeatedly was you guys don't allow Josh at the house. Is the kind of the same thing because he's just weird.
Yeah, because one of the things that he would do is he has been really bad to us through the years, and he would treat us one way when my sister was there or my mom was there, and then when no one was there, he would be, when they were there, he would be decent to us, and when no one was around, he would be mean. And I saw him be that way with my kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my kids are
they
not
confuse
dealing
our
with that
kids.
kind of behavior.
Yeah.
And I'm super protective of my kids anyway. And we didn't have a friendship, so there was no reason for him to come to our
I'll
house.
stop for a second. So what they're describing is a very evil person in Joshua Brown. Joshua Brown is duplicitous. This is the kind of guy that acts one way in front of Joni Lamb and Rachel, and he acts a different way in front of Rebecca and JW. And of course, Rebecca and JW, as you will hear a little bit later, they're not important to Joshua Brown because they're not the ones who are going to be the future leaders of Daystar. Because Joshua Brown had one thing in mind, to get into the Daystar family so that he could get the funds that goes with it, so he could get the position that goes with it. He married the girl that goes with it, Rachel. And Rebecca and JW, they mean nothing to him. He has to suck up basically to Jonathan and Susie, keep them happy, and of course his mother-in-law, Joni. And so what he's capable of being and how he is capable of acting is duplicitous, and it says a lot about his character. Take a look.
For him to come to our house, but I don't trust him.
But then after the allegations came out from
That was
Susie, then it was like, yeah, you're just not allowed here.
Yeah, that was enough for us.
Yeah.
So it was.
But there was other reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's a jerk and.
Yeah.
You don't think he's treating your kids right? if you're
Correct.
around.
We caught him like being mean to our son once when he didn't know we were looking.
He
know,
has manipulative behavior.
And I was just kind of like, I don't want to deal. I don't
I've
want my
caught
kid
him
to deal
lying.
with that. You know. So it's one thing to be mean to me, and Rebecca and I as adults. You know, that's like just not tolerable in a professional environment, in my opinion. But you're not going to do things to my kids.
Yeah, that's where I draw the
That's
line.
not going to happen.
My kids aren't gonna have to deal with that kind of back and forth behavior where 1 second you're nice and then you flip on a dime. And then so it's one of the reasons why I don't trust him.
Okay. That clarifies it for me.
So right here, this is where the officer, in my opinion, maybe he's a junior, maybe he's just learning, but these people are actually giving you evidence on the kind of person that is a sociopath, perhaps. Allegedly, he's mean, he's a liar, and this guy, he doesn't want to really pursue that anymore. Oh, yeah, I get what you mean. Everyone has one of them in the family, I mean, just we're dealing with the fact that we think a child has been harmed by a certain person, and the police have been given this evidence. And right in front of them are the folks who are trying to tell him that this guy's a liar. He's nasty. 1 minute he's nice, the next minute he's not. I'd like to know more from Rebecca on her experience with that. I would like to hear more from JW, who's like, yes, that's what he's like. Instead, the officer is not willing to investigate, to dig and drill down into that. And I cannot even fathom that this case is not reopened or still open. But thank God it was shut down so that we have these videos. Let's continue.
And because the allegations too.
It was a combination.
That was I guess, before, and then the allegations kind of said, okay, he's just not over to the house anymore.
Correct.
Okay.
I don't think they ever really came over.
They never came over.
Prior-
like, we're not friends.
We never were friends. They very
No.
much didn't like us.
Kept their lives private.
Yeah, very much secretive. You know, they really cozied up to Jonathan and Susie because they saw like Jonathan and Susie as like the next ones to lead, and so they very much wanted to be like as close to that as they could. And I think that's part of why they were so into their kids.
Like Rachel and Josh try to be really buddy with Jonathan and Susie. We
Yeah.
speculated is it because he was mean to them and then he flipped.
So yeah, I forgot about that.
He sowed a lot of division in our family.
Okay.
And that's something that's not being talked about online. You know, but I personally feel like he has narcissistic tendencies.
Okay.
Right there.
Yeah, that's,
Right there. Narcissistic tendencies. Alarm bells should be going off everywhere with this police officer to say, okay, this is actually predatory behavior. This is actually the kind of people that might commit a heinous crime like harming a child. There should be a drill down. This interview should have lasted 2 hours to get every last bit of what kind of things Joshua Brown did that were alarming to them. Give me specifics, not as he said in the beginning, what was it? Yeah, this will be quick and painless. No, you see, there's nothing painless about this whole situation. This has been painful for Jonathan and Susie the most, then the family, and then the rest of us. Because this has been something we've all borne. We've gone, there's injustice here. So they're saying he's got a narcissistic behavior. They're also saying that he was mean to Jonathan and Susie. They were nice. Joshua Brown was nice, and then he flipped, is what they say. And JW says, oh yeah, I forgot about that. You see, I would like another 10 or 15 minutes interview on, what do you mean he was nice to them and then he flipped? Oh, I forgot about, what does that mean? No follow-up questions. Keep going.
No, I'm not a psychologist. I can't
I'm not
diagnose
either.
him.
I'm not either, but every now and then you meet somebody, I'm not saying it's him, but every now and then you meet somebody who's like,
Yeah.
that dude's got issues. But
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so thank you, JT. Did you know I was going to stop, or is that the end of the clip? But every now and then you meet somebody who's got these tendencies. There's nothing funny. Joshua Brown, and we're going to get into the allegations that have come against him from Australia, that apparently, I don't know if there's more to the story, but they redact this part of the video. Maybe because I'm not sure who did it. It could be that, Roy's report not covering this has redacted that part of the video, but it does get redacted a little bit. But this is right here, not a laughing matter. Basically, JW and Rebecca describing the kind of personality that is a nightmare to have in your family. And this guy's, I don't know. I'm sure he's a nice fellow, but if you're going to be a police officer, these are serious things. The whole world has gotten in an uproar about this. This has become the epic modern day biblical, story with really deep and heartfelt emotions that have caused well over 24 broadcasters to leave. It's important that the job was done. And why this is not still being investigated or reopened, I have no idea. Let's go to the next one.
One of the reports or blogs online said that you guys were upset because you weren't part of a family meeting or something.
not upset, just kind of like whatever. We were outside when the whole thing happened.
Yeah.
Jonathan Land flew the door open. He was beat red. We were outside by the pool
with our son. We only had him
And
at
he
the
said,
time.
it's all going down right now. I caught Josh. And we walked in, and Josh is chasing Jonathan around the house saying, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And Rachel's screaming, and Susie's screaming, and then
They all went and
they
met.
all went down to meet in the
We
basement.
were like, we want to be a part of this because we're part of this family.
That was it, yeah.
But
should we be there? It's kind of like, should we talk this out or figure this out? And
Yeah,
they just told us to stay away.
We've always cared. And the thing is, too, is that when all of that went down with someone went upstairs, because there's different versions of that. I have no idea what actually happened, because both of us were outside with Asher.
Yeah,
and that
that's
was
true.
part of the problem too.
And how there's two totally
I just
different
believe
narratives.
Susie.
So, yeah, this is part of the problem, isn't it? Because Rebecca and JW were not in the house. Joni Lamb was in the basement, and Joni Lamb is the one who has basically said, do you remember her interview with Marcus Rogers? Well, this is what happened is, like, there's a city view, and then there's, you know, the beach view, and, like, which one is it, you know? This is Joni Lamb cover-up for her son-in-law. Let me tell you, by the end of this week, it's going to be very clear what the truth was about if Joshua Brown followed a little girl up the stairs, as Susie said, or did the previous to now nameless, faceless housekeeper, was she a witness? Was she the actual eyes brought there by the Lord God to witness what really went down? Because one thing's for sure, you won't get the truth out of son-in-law Joshua Brown or out of Joni Lamb. You won't get the truth out of them. That's not important to them. But they're about to be busted. Joni Lamb, the one who had to take care of things for her, saw everything. And these guys are basically saying, yeah, of course we didn't know. Let's proceed.
You know, there's the city view and this view. You know,
Yeah.
there's one view that Rachel shared and one view that Susie shared.
Susie
At the
says
time-
he deliberately went up, you know, and then the other version is it was an
No,
accident.
Susie says that he went into a trance and his eyes
black
went dark,
eyes,
and
yeah.
then he followed her up the room, and she raced to get Jonathan, and he dropped his toothbrush and sprinted up the stairs and caught Josh staring. You know, and then the other version would be, you know, Israel, the son, wanted to show Josh the city view when they went up together to look at the city view, and then nothing changed. So there's two totally different like spins on the same thing.
And we have no
And
idea.
we don't know. Honestly, don't know because we weren't in the room. You know, you can't.
No,
really-
we only saw the after events where my brother immediately came and found us because we were close to Jonathan and Susie. You
Yeah.
know,
Okay. You sound like chaos.
Yeah.
it was chaos,
Yeah.
and this whole thing has been chaos.
It sure has. It's been chaos for the world because people can't tell the truth. And Joni Lamb, I mean, I don't know if she's just like not very bright or if she's deceptive. It's one of those because her son-in-law has lied and she has chosen all the way along the version of Joshua Brown rather than her children. But it's coming out. Somebody else saw it. That will be later this week. Julie Royce bringing it to the forefront. What is going on? You will remember, let's take a look just briefly, quick clip down memory lane on how this all went down with the Joni side.
We had our family retreat. There was nothing else said about that event happening. There was nothing said to my husband or myself, my late husband. And so we're at the beach, and on this particular day, my grandson was talking about his city view because they're the two older grandchildren. They were up in a room. It was a long bunk room, and there was a bunk bed on one side, and then there was another bunk bed on the other side. And so my grandson was talking about his sister had the beach view, and he had the city view. And so who they're calling Pete heard my grandson talking and said, oh, I like the city view. And because everybody else was saying they like the beach view. Personally, I like the beach view. And so he said Pete was holding his 1-year-old child. And he said to my grandson, well, show me your city view. So they went up the steps. I was in the room, heard this, and went up the steps and proceeded to look out the window to see the beach view and then to see the city view. And at some point, my granddaughter was up there on her side of the room and put her bathing suit on. Well, downstairs, Susie said to my son, go check on. I remember thinking that's kind of weird, like, and the way she said it. And so my son went running up the stairs, and when he did, he saw that his daughter was putting on the bathing suit, and Pete was standing there holding a 1-year-old baby, and my 8-year-old grandson was there, and they were looking out the window at the city view. Well, Jonathan says, what are you doing up here? You know, she's putting her bathing suit on. Well, Pete turns around and said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, and comes downstairs. And it was just weird the way the whole thing went down.
I have no words. I have no words. Where do you begin? Everything is a lie. Everything is a lie.
So if you'll notice in this last clip, Joni says, oh, well, it was just kind of weird the way, you know, Susie came downstairs and said to Jonathan, you've got to go. See, there's nothing weird about it, especially if you begin to put all the pieces together. By this time that Joni is speaking to Marcus Rogers or whomever she tells what's going on, the table talk ladies, she's told the version a couple of times. She knows that Miss Denise Boggs, Rebecca, Susie, they had all prayed together before the beach house saying, Lord, if there is something to be revealed, let it be revealed. As Rebecca has already said in this interview, what kind of dude follows up a little girl who's going to get changed into her bathing suit unless he's a real wackadoodle? Okay? A real nutter. Not just a narcissist, but a nutter. And so this is what happens. Joshua Brown follows the girl up. Now, do we know that from Joni? No, we don't know that. She just, it's kind of weird that Susie came and said that to Jonathan the way, you know. What is wrong with Joni Lamb? Step down. Get out. I'm so done. The evidence that is coming forward that we did not have all of these months is now going to come out in the open and reveal that Susie Lamb has taken her son-in-law's perspective and even talks about, oh, you know, he didn't see anything in the room or whatever. Oh, why? Were you there? Were you there? No. Redwig thinks she was there. You're all like kukala. And meanwhile, this is a serious situation about a predator. Let's have a listen to the only two people you can actually believe in this entire Daystar saga. 100%, the only two people telling the truth that need to be believed, Jonathan and Susie. Take a look.
So I was in the main area because Jonathan and our room was over there on that first floor. There's a basement below where Marcus and Joni were. There's a game room area down there, and that's where they were. So we finished breakfast, and Pete had the baby. Again, you know, my heart is to always protect the identity of a baby or a child that does not need to be mentioned. Obviously, they took that, and I thought they'd be happy, but it's okay. This innocent little life was there in one arm, and he was doing something in the kitchen, and I was talking to my daughter, and she said, Mommy, I want to go swim. And I said, okay, go upstairs, put on your swimsuit, come back to Mommy. And the second I said that, I mean, his eyes just kind of got big, and he goes, ah, and he started to follow her. Yes, that baby was right there, and he just started to follow. The baby was a non-factor. The baby was not fussy.
And let me pause right there. Where is your son?
3rd floor, in his bunk, minding his own business.
So he was not on the main floor having any conversation about City View, Beach View, which the City View is a street, right? There's no view.
It was one little road. That was our view. One little road. There was nothing. They have to come up with colorful words, fussy baby, city view, beach view. None of those things. The truth is so simple. He saw her, he goes, ah, and he started to follow her up. And I felt such panic in her eyes because I just knew if it was me stopping it, they'd be like, Susie, look what you're doing again. And that's what, today they have to admit that he was caught in that room because of Jonathan's crazy reaction, like very strong. But all I can do is tell the truth before God. He followed her up there. Panic set in my heart. And I told Jonathan, and he ran.
Susie has been clear from the very beginning exactly what happened, how it went down, that Joshua Brown followed the little girl up. Nothing like what Joni Lamb has presented. This will be more important later this week. Let's take a look at more of this interview with Rebecca and JW.
Story of my life. It's the story of our marriage. Every time in an important situation, I'm like, you just leave me alone so you have to go pee. But yeah, it's just been awful. It sucked, you know?
Yeah, family stuff is, that's what it boils down to. I mean, I think we talked about it before. It's family issues right now.
Yeah, and we have our issues. We have our own toxic dysfunctions. And me and him, we've just always tried to do right by people. We've always asked for, you know, our family to move forward and become healthier and break those toxic cycles, you know?
I mean, he picked a good time to go, I guess. I'm pretty much done.
Okay.
You got any questions or anything for me, or anything I should know about off the top of your head? I'll ask him the same thing when he gets back.
Not anything else that I can think of. Just, you know, I want to know the truth.
Me too.
I just don't know if there's a way, is there a way that it can be found out?
Ultimately, I can't do that with what I have right now. Ultimately, it's going to be a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, keep praying.
I will.
Yeah, keep praying. And try to stay together.
I kind of let that play out a little bit because, first of all, she talks about the toxic family cycles. And the beautiful thing about Rebecca is she's actually saying, like, can you find the truth? Now, this dude, the police officer, the investigator, is saying, well, not with what I have right now. Coming into play will be the letter that JW wrote and that they were unsuccessfully able to really get a photocopy of, because otherwise we'd have that. We're going to see all the things at play. It makes you wonder what is exactly in that letter that JW and Rebecca and the lawyer are so concerned that it doesn't necessarily come out. But the toxic family cycle and the concern, they just want this done. Makes sense. Next clip.
I guess you got any questions for me, or do you think there's anything I should know?
No, I just really want the truth on this one, you know?
Pretty much the same.
Okay.
We're in agreement.
Y'all together on
We
this.
want the same
Yeah,
thing.
like, I hate the way it's gone down, and, you know, I even feel bad for you and how you probably have
Being
been.
dragged into all of
Because
this.
we all kind of feel like we're dragged into something that, but at the end of the day, like, if was abused by him, that needs to come out, in my opinion, and it
Yeah.
needs to be dealt with properly.
That's what we've been
And,
praying for.
and that's what we desire. And then if it wasn't, then I'd be like clarity on that, so that we could like move forward and try and restore this family, because it's really
Trying
a
to work
broken
things
family.
out. Yeah.
One of the things that is, I think, typical of cover-up culture and what the church has done is made everyone so afraid to speak the truth, and they want the truth. Now, if they really want the truth, JW should produce the letter. That should be emailed to Jonathan and Susie immediately on good faith. That should be given to the police right now, immediately on good faith, that you want the truth. That's what should be done. Why have you not done that? That's been the question. I do see sincerity in JW and Rebecca, that they mean well and they want the truth. But did you hear JW say to the police officer, oh, you know, I even feel bad for you? Why? He's a police officer and this is your niece. And you and Rebecca actually do believe that something very bad has happened here. Why would we feel bad why is everyone feeling bad for all the peripheral people? This police officer should be doing more. And there's just a ton of questions that as this goes down, he doesn't drill down. And I believe that's why it's been closed. Unless they feel the weight of the importance of what their investigation means and what it's doing. Maybe they just don't get it. I don't know. I don't know why this is not important. It's hitting North America. It's caused a lot of people to leave Daystar. It's caused a lot of broadcasters to have to regroup their whole lives, including ourselves, by the way. But this isn't about the police officer. This is about, please ask the questions that are important. And all of this, there's so many questions. I mean, just let me at them. That's how I feel, in watching this. Okay, let's take a look at some assumptions that JW and Rebecca were making regarding Jonathan and Susie. And I have been in communication with Jonathan and Susie for a long time, but very carefully over the last 2 days regarding some of this footage. So let's play it, and then we'll do some explaining.
What do you guys think about the whole thing? Like, what, you think there's an angle for somebody,
Yeah.
or okay, what?
No?
Oh, I don't know.
With Jonathan and Susie, right?
Oh, anybody, I guess. I mean,
I think there's two angles, so yeah, go ahead. You do yours first.
Well, we had some friends tell us that my brother's, like, one of the things he's trying to do through all this is he's trying to become president.
Mhm.
So it's not just, everything that he's doing there, it was intentional.
So this is where the gossipy nastiness begins to happen, because everybody is vying for position or saying that people are vying for position. You see, it was never under any other assumption in the world but that Jonathan would definitely take over when dad is passed, or maybe mom is passed as well. He would be taking over. There was no vying for this position because Jonathan was just trying to hold on. Remember all of these things that he was dealing with? You got to read the email. You read the email or out, submit. Joni is the voice of God to you. He was dealing with all of that as well. This wasn't about Jonathan trying to usurp his mother. He was, trying to be respectful of her and just saying, can we read a different email? And not go on to the show and have to read a celebratory email about her immoral marriage. Okay? That was what they were grappling with. So when Rebecca and JW, this is where friends sometimes are a hindrance. I mean, some of their friends have said to them, well, Jonathan, he's just trying to vie for his position. No, he wasn't. He had already been usurped because on Marcus' deathbed, Marcus told Denise Boggs that Jonathan and Susie were to assume command of Daystar and that it was time to set, themselves aside. I think Marcus, maybe, did he have a premonition that he was about to die? Because he died, I believe, 2 days later or the next day. But in his right mind, Marcus said, please turn Daystar over to Jonathan Lamb. And I will tell you that if that had happened, if Marcus Lamb's wishes had been honored, we wouldn't be in this mess. Joni Lamb and her, her dude could just leave and they could go live their life at their beach home, one of their multi-million-dollar homes. They could go to Destin, Florida, and enjoy themselves all day and all night at their condo. But she didn't choose to do that. She got the eye of the tiger. She wanted to be the CEO of this great billion-dollar organization and bring on Doug, and her and Doug would, be doing, co-hosting of Ministry Now and whatnot. So she was in lust with Dr. Doug. Pretty sure she's not anymore, just saying. And now people on the side, they're all talking, oh, Jonathan just wants a position. No, Jonathan was just fighting to try to stay alive and not have to read emails. Not have to, support something. He's like, Mom, please, don't marry him. And then Mom, don't make us have to, talk about this, marriage as if we give approval, and we do not. And man, that angered Joni to no end. Joni's wrath was huge. Joni couldn't take that. No, she wanted that email read. She wanted to be the voice of God. If I say so, you do it. Alan Didio, did you see him recently going off about how, Jimmy Evans has just done nothing wrong in all of it? I mean, has he not watched? Obviously, people just talk and talk. He's in Jimmy Evans' back pocket, right? They're all buddies. Cover up culture. You're my buddy. You're my highfalutin. You've got money. You've got a big ministry. I want to be your friend. Everybody sucks up to everybody rather than getting and drilling down to the truth. So all of this is not true, that Jonathan was trying to get some position. I mean, his mom was busy trying to demote him, and in fact did at some point do that, because he wasn't being submitted to her sin. He wasn't submitting to the sin, therefore he's not a good son. So let's continue on with the clips and see what they say.
So he was conspiring. He was doing that.
Yeah, and if he really thought that his daughter was touched, he shouldn't have just buried that until it was time to suit him and his career. He should have gotten that addressed. So I don't know if they actually think that, honestly.
So he did get it addressed. So I just want to be clear, because Jonathan and Susie are not here to defend themselves. I specifically asked them about this clip. The moment that they heard that Rachel had lied, and Rachel had told Marcus and Joni that Joshua Brown was cleared, that he was absolved, that, he was basically okay, there, nothing against him. Rachel lies. Marcus and Joni are so happy. Joni does, as the voice of God, does hear from God saying, I just believe he's innocent. All of this to cover up. Nothing of it is true. Joni Lamb is not a prophetess. She is not a Deborah. She is not somebody that is operating in the perfect will of the Lord at all. There's no second scepter being given to her. Joseph Z, another false prophecy. All of these people prophesying that everything's going to be okay. No, nothing's okay. And it's going to be shown. This next week, Blockbuster. Julie Royce will come out with all of it. She has all of the interviews, including Joshua Brown's. So it's going to get interesting, isn't it? So as soon as Jonathan and Susie knew that Joshua Brown had not been cleared, they contacted authorities, and the whole thing began. There was no putting it aside, not dealing with it. It wasn't the case. They were operating under false assumptions. Let's continue.
They just might, they can use this to bring down his mom, which is terrible. Terrible.
And like
so mean,
I said, I question their motivations in the protection of a child, because why didn't you try to protect our kids?
They don't care about our kids. It's the bottom line.
Or they don't really.
If they did, if you had a brother-in-law, they would come and tell you that it's something you should look at. Or did
it would ruin it would threaten his plan.
Yeah, because we would have just said, oh, what are you doing? We wouldn't, because we're not dysfunctional. We're
okay,
functional.
so they say that they're not dysfunctional, but it's a little bit dysfunctional what's happened here. JW, in all fairness. You know what's dysfunctional? That you've protected the letter, that letter should be out, that you're now accusing Jonathan and Susie of these things. And I realize this is the first interview. And you know what? They kind of let down their walls, and they're going to speak the truth on what they know coming up shortly. Stay with us. But dysfunctional has been making sure your mortgage is paid when you know what you know. Rachel and Joshua Brown, you've been ministering with them, being on the same platforms, and you know what you know. So you want to talk about chaos? You know that Jonathan and Susie have been in the fight of their lives now, and I get it that things have gone awry between you, and Jonathan and Susie didn't want to talk to the family anymore. And the reason is, JW and Rebecca, the reason is they didn't want to talk to anyone anymore was because they were alone, and they knew what was right and wrong, and they were not feeling support. And people react in all kinds of different ways. I would suggest something now, and that is that in a good faith measure, you do what was right, because this is the thing. You haven't produced that letter. Produce the letter. I urge Jonathan and Susie and JW and Rebecca to do the right thing and speak to one another, at least bare minimum. Say, listen, I appreciate that you're, have tried, but you're not going to give the letter, and we're going to see those clips coming up. That's the problem. That's where this has all gone sideways. And it's not Jonathan vying for his position. Jonathan didn't need to vie for a position. He was going to be the president of Daystar one day, the CEO, the president. He was going to be that. There was never a question of it until he wouldn't read the emails. And then all of this, you've all compromised. You all had a problem. You haven't been fair about Dr. Doug coming in. You guys all had a problem with Dr. Doug. Rebecca, you told your mom that she was literally demonized and that she had gone off the edge because she has brought ill repute onto Daystar. It's undoable at this point. It's undoable. There's nowhere to go with trying to fix this. You all hated it, but then I guess it was important that you got your mortgage paid and that you have jobs and you get all the goodies that come with this. And there's one more thing, and Susie made mention of this quite specifically. When Jonathan was put into a position of basically being his sister's boss, this is a righteous man. And what he did was he started doing some Doge. You know Doge, where you start looking at all the expenses and going, okay, this expense is for your child's birthday party. This, however much, thousands and thousands of dollars, okay? You guys, I tried to get my kids' birthdays when they were young for under $100, okay? Hot dogs, invite the kids, let's put up the happy birthday thing, and, balloons everywhere, all right? That's a kid's birthday. Sorry, that's how we did birthdays. Not the Lamb family. When they're having a birthday, it is like clowns and, magic acts, I don't know, all coming out, the yin yang. And you got to have this big to-do because you are the family to attend, their certain birthday party. Okay, so here's the thing. Doge comes in, Jonathan Lamb. Jonathan Lamb starts looking at all the expenses and he's like, it's not a company expense to pay for your kid's birthday. It's not a company expense to do this and that and that and that and that. What you've all done is just not right. So that got the daughters very upset. Rachel was upset. They went running, to mommy and, talking about all of this. And one final thing before we move on to the next clip, but the very last time that Susie spoke with Rachel, Susie told me this herself. Joni, if she has any integrity left, will concur with what happened. Susie tells Rachel, this Daystar is God's. And Rachel was all upset about all of these expenses and, and all of that. But she's like, this is, Daystar is God's, is what Susie's saying. Susie has married Jonathan. She has embraced that this is the Lord's ministry because that has always been Jonathan's perspective. But Rachel, no. Rachel said, no, this is my mom and dad's work, and this is our blessing for being Marcus Lamb's daughter. This is our blessing for who we are. We're so special. We're Marcus Lamb's daughter, so we get all of this stuff because we're just born into the right family. And Susie Lamb said, no. This ministry is God's ministry. So Rachel went crying to mommy. Joni Lamb then gets in touch with Susie and says, this is what you've said to Rachel and, it's not right. And Susie said, well, isn't it right? Is what she's saying right, that they're entitled to all this stuff because they're the daughters of Marcus Lamb? And Joni said, well, basically we built it. We built this ministry and everything. And again, Susie Lamb says to Joni, this is God's ministry. And what you all have done is very wrong. This is God's ministry. It's not about you all getting like the lavish lifestyle of the rich and famous because you have operated this ministry. You have not done the right thing. Let's go to the next clip.
There's that angle, and then on the other side of it is like, I don't understand why Josh has been so weird about hiding things from everyone, you know? If you're innocent, just come out and say, like, let's get this over with. But to me, it's been all mishandled, mismanaged.
Yeah.
Say hiding everything for everybody, like the family, like telling you guys what's going on, or
Yeah, we don't know hardly anything. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I just feel like
Out of the loop.
Yeah.
okay.
Very much out of the loop. We're like the furthest. We're like the bottom of the barrel. No, really.
Don't put it that way.
Not in the eyes of the Lord. Really value. I'm telling you, in the family, you are the bottom.
Well, looking outside in, I think that's where you want to be right now. So,
Well, you know, that's a good point, too.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And we just want to do, honestly, this whole time, we've always just tried to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Always.
so grateful that you reached out to us, because like,
'Cause I was
I
like,
feel like that was probably the last kind of bucket
Thing that we could do.
is like talk to somebody completely outside that is a detective that can investigate and like tell us what, you know, because in the day we've never witnessed a crime, we just felt and seen all these weird things, and we've dealt with not a predator, but what is he like? Is he? I mean, he's
been abusive.
he's terrorized
He's been
us for
abusive,
years,
yeah.
and so it's like, anytime we've tried to raise anything, it's always been like
our concern.
Yeah, so
yeah, okay. So it just kind of sucks that he's in the family now, right?
totally.
Exactly.
Okay, now I get it. Now I got a family like that too.
I think everyone
Don't we
does,
all?
honestly.
Yeah.
We all.
I think everybody does, you know.
Yeah, don't we all.
Okay, so right there, they are telling this officer that they have been terrorized. That's their words. That this has been like, it's terrifying. That he's a liar, a narcissist. All of these things regarding Joshua Brown. And this officer's like, yeah, just sitting back there like, where's the notes? Is there notes? I mean, I guess it's on tape. Has he watched this back? Is it, you know, these are big words. This is if you're terrorized by somebody, that's a dangerous person in your life. Not to mention, we're about to get to a second clip very shortly, to a second interview a week later, where they're a little bit more forthcoming. Keep that in mind. So let's look at them talking briefly here regarding what we have brought to you about the allegations that have come, because the police officer apparently has heard from a few of you in Canada and different places that have said, what's with that, the allegations from Australia, and what are you going to do about that? Well, take a look.
We're getting all kinds of weird stuff coming out. People bringing up stuff that allegedly happened in Australia, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, people running with it online.
Did you tell
just
him about
search
that?
it, so.
Okay. So right here, something weird's happening, and I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know if it was Roy's report or the police that took this out. I'll see if I can figure that out. You don't think Roy's report took this? They would have put it up? Okay. What we're thinking is that Julie Royce may have put this up. Was it Roy's report that put the 50-second portion of the interview was masked, unreleased, and is not currently available? Question mark. Okay. Here's the thing, though. JW looks over at the lawyer of Joni Lamb, and he says, you know, did you talk about that? All of a sudden, we can't hear anything. So I don't know what it is. I will tell you that I was in the room with Jonathan as he spoke to the gentleman from Australia that Joshua Brown had been making inappropriate sexual comments to and advances. And that gentleman was willing to speak with Jonathan about it. He has not been willing to come forward, as is often the case. It's difficult for whistleblowers because he wants to be in good with planet shakers. But the pastor there got a letter from this gentleman that spoke with Jonathan Lamb. I heard the conversation. He wrote a letter because Joshua Brown was like, again, a bit of a wackadoodle, saying gross things and making advances that were not welcome by this dude. So that is literally what has happened. Let's continue watching.
The stuff we're getting, besides the reporters, are people seeing the reports on YouTube or on the blogs and calling us and trying to give us the information that's from those YouTubes and the blogs. So
Yeah.
it's like third party, fourth party stuff. They see it and they're like, I got all these tips for you. Okay, we have YouTube too. We see that stuff. So and just the term Australia came out and said there's stuff needs to be investigated for in Australia. I'm Texas, Tarrant County. I'm a little guy here, so.
Okay, right there. Stop. Okay, so first of all, I don't know. I just think he should be taking notes. They're talking about Australia, and this guy, he's just sitting back having a good old time. I mean, is the Colleyville police, is it a small police department and you don't care? You don't do a good job? Why is he saying, oh, well, that's in Australia. I'm in Texas. Okay. If you have let's say you have a really bad dude, a serial killer, and there is evidence in Australia, do you think you could get it? If somebody's been murdered, if 6 people have been murdered in Texas, do you think you could talk to Australia and hunt some things down? I don't know what this is all about because I'm in Canada. I was able to call to Australia. Let's take a look at that clip.
Welcome to the offices of Planet Shakers Church. Please take a moment to listen to these options as they have changed recently.
I really need to speak to Pastor Russell Evans. I would like to speak to him personally. I will be glad to, if the protocol is that I need to speak to his assistant. I've done that once before, and I'd like to do that. Yes. Hello.
Hi, Laura-Lynn.
Hi.
Are you still on the phone?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Unfortunately, she won't be able to speak to you currently. However, we do have a specific process that we do take with media-related things.
Okay.
And so what we will do is I'll just take down the message and I will forward it on to the relevant people. Was it the male that was propositioning
A male.
or Joshua propositioning this?
Joshua was, yes, you've got that right. Joshua was propositioning another male,
Okay.
saying such inappropriate things that he was so alarmed that he wrote Pastor Russell Evans a letter. I'm going to protect his identity, but Pastor Russell Evans knows this man. Pastor Russell Evans knows that this man complained about Joshua Brown propositioning, and we'd like to know, and you can pass this on to whoever deals with your media or the person you feel should answer this. What did Pastor Russell Evans do with such allegations? Because unfortunately, a woman married that man that did these propositions without any warning. And this same man has been reported, even to the police, that he has been very inappropriate with a child. And we'd like to know what Pastor Russell Evans did with that letter. So what I'm not understanding is if you have a potential pedophile in Texas, are you not able to get a hold of a pastor in Australia and say, could we verify and could we please receive the letter that was written by a gentleman highlighting some inappropriate behavior towards this man? Could it not be explored? Might there be other stories in Australia? Might Joshua Brown have babysat some other kids? Might he have been around other children? Because all of this, there has been allegations. There's been talks of a situation regarding pornography, another situation. I'll leave that. What I want to know is the Colleyville police, have you done exactly all the due diligence that you feel you have? Or I'm in Texas. I don't get it. I'm in Canada. This is a global world. You can write emails, you can make calls, and when you're the police, it matters, because I'll tell you what, I never did get a call back from the pastor at Planet Shakers. I never got a call back because, well, I'm just a podcaster and they want me to go away. But you're the police. Maybe he would talk to you, and maybe he would say, yes, I did get that. But it's interesting, you know, it really is interesting that Planet Shakers, the pastor's name is Pastor Russ something, isn't it? Planet Shakers Church, yeah. Let's go to Who Are We? So basically, visit, watch online. These are the different things that it has. Have that there. They do a lot of reaching out to all kinds of people, and they have a lot of young people. And usually you've got a like, who are we kind of thing. Give, store, location, sermons, watch online, conference, college, about. How about that? About. Yes, Russell. Yes. Russell and Sam Evans. Right here. Global Senior Pastors, Planet Shakers, received a letter regarding Joshua Brown. You've done nothing with that letter. You didn't even have the decency or courtesy to call Joni Lamb and say, listen, we understand that your daughter is dating a man. We want to let you know, in good faith, as brothers and sisters in Christ, there has been some things that have been said about this man. Maybe, Pastor Russell, maybe Rachel would have had a heads up, and she wouldn't be in the position, which we know she's in a real position. And we're sorry about that. I'm sorry. I would have let her know. If I'd had any idea about a letter that had been written about my, her future husband, if I had known her at the time, I'd say, listen, I think you should know this. That'd be the right thing to do. But I guess protecting, let's see what they're actually protecting here. Basically, they're protecting this church that they have, probably bringing a lot of money, kind of famous, Planet Shakers, and they're protecting that. They don't want to, we don't want to mess anything up. And you know who else is protecting is the guy that actually wrote the letter. Well, he doesn't want Pastor Russell to be mad. Honestly, I'm just about up to here. This is the whole culture that gets all of us in so much trouble. Let's finish out this last clip that we were on.
That's just trying to tell you the scope of the whole thing.
I know.
And that is, I've been doing this long enough where it's not inherently evil.
Correct.
If he did it.
Right.
So it's just one of those things. So that wasn't something that, what you told me is not something that's alarming to me.
Yeah. And I don't even know if he did that or not. It was just, it's like, wow, his second, I don't know what party that would have been, because I wasn't even in that conversation. I just heard about that conversation. But that's literally everything I can think of.
So I'm not certain at this point that I fully understand if there's another situation or if they're talking about this one situation, because Rebecca's saying I wasn't part of that conversation. That conversation took place between Jonathan and the guy from Australia long after he wasn't in communication with Rebecca. So I'm not certain what they're talking about right here. I'm confused. Do any of you understand it? Let me know if you do. I will, I'll see if I can ascertain any more on that. All right, we've got 2 more segments, and I believe now, Marcia, isn't this into the second interview now? This will now be going into JW and Rebecca have come back after 1 week, and they're a little bit more forthcoming because they've had a discussion with the housekeeper of Joni Lamb. Let's listen.
That was still, I don't have my little recorder, but I'm gonna turn this one on. I have to.
Okay, so about this, anything you wanna see right here? Okay. So here's a copy.
Okay.
Look,
So just
Jonathan generated.
context around this. This was written in, I guess it would be 2021,
It was after the
and
incident.
it was never something that was to ever see any public face. It was literally me and her trying to get my mind around the fact of, these things that we witnessed. This event in Florida had happened, and it was so dramatic and like kind of seared in everyone's memory. And then all of a sudden, like Marcus and Joni said, Josh is innocent. He hasn't done anything. So it was just literally like I would call it like a brainstorming document.
Yeah.
So that as you read it, it's just like it's not like a well written anything.
Yeah.
But
Like it's not
it's been
spell
mentioned
checked,
so
not grammar
much
checked.
that
Yeah. No, yeah.
But it's you getting all your thoughts out and really trying to make sense of everything.
yeah.
So you're talking about, so it says, ooh, Jonathan and Susie, would that be talking about anybody in particular, or this is your timeline of events for the whole Josh thing, I guess, just
Yeah.
abbreviated? Okay.
Yeah. So talking about him wooing them.
It's kind of like,
and
when
she
you have
can
an
provide
iPhone.
context for that.
Yeah, I remember you said that they were really close to Jonathan and Susie because they thought they were gonna, I guess, take over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to briefly explain here, this is the letter JW has written. He is not allowing the police to have a copy of it. He is, the lawyer has it right there, and the police officer is just kind of going through it at this point, and so it has not been released, and they'll be talking about redacting and whatnot. Take a look.
Since I guess I part about the kiss, I didn't emphasize my question last time, but was it like a peck on the lips, or was it like a full-on adult, like, gross kiss?
Yeah, I could show you on her. It was pretty gross.
Was it? Okay.
Kind of like this. Like his lips were like open. I just remember because he used to have braces, and I just would be like, "Oh, that's disgusting."
It wasn't just like a.
It
It was like a.
good 2 seconds
Okay.
hold there, and she's just kind of like.
And she was
Writhing.
turning away. And the thing that I remember seeing is he was like right in front of her, and he was like this much, I mean, literally like this close.
Yeah.
And he was like down on her level, and he kept whispering, "Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss." And he wouldn't leave her alone. It was so weird. You're like, leave her alone. Like, she doesn't want a kiss. Like, that's so strange. She's not even your kid. Like, I wouldn't even do that with my own kids. That was one of the things that we mentioned to everyone. We're like, that was weird.
Yeah.
Why were you doing that? Why were you incessant?
Sounds gross.
Yeah.
It was gross.
Really.
Yeah, just thank you for putting that in perspective for me.
So I just want to say, I hope my audio's on here. Yeah. Where's the notes? I know that there's this large video. Is there a transcription they're going to get? Maybe, perhaps, it's easy in AI to get like a transcription of all of this, but, and maybe that's the way that officers do it. Just anytime I've ever been in front of a police officer, he has taken his own notes, and they're describing a grown man after they've just talked about his indecent proposals to another dude in Australia, they're describing a grown man basically trying to do a full-on, you know, gross kiss with a child that is not his blood relative and not his child. So all of this is, you know, there's more. Okay, keep going.
So
Right there, he's kind of, just to say, you know, it's just sped up for time's sake. Nothing's being said. But again, he's just only allowed, this officer is only allowed to go through the letter. Now, if he would read it out loud, then we would know what it says. But he's not even reading it out loud, so there's no record. If he could just read it out loud, then you would have a transcript of what's in the letter. He's not taking any notes, so he's the only eyes on this letter, and he's not taking notes. So maybe he wasn't allowed to take notes. He's just allowed to look at it, and I'm not sure what good that does. He's like, you know, he's just one person gets to look at the letter, right? All of this, it's just terrible. It's terrible police work, to be honest. Keep going.
There's two mentions of the drawings. Have you seen the drawings yourself?
I never saw them myself.
Just what you
Susie told me about them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'd like to say just something here. And probably, so the drawings, I do know something about that because of my relationship with Jonathan and Susie, but I'm not going to say much more except for that when their daughter, you know, has been into some therapy or whatever, drawings were made. And so that is what Jonathan is speaking about. Take a look.
Who's Maddie?
That was Joni's personal assistant prior to the current lady.
Okay.
Who? Well, do I need to tell him what happened?
If it's not anything to Joshua, I was just curious.
Okay.
What about Sylvia and Edith?
Edith is our cleaning lady, and Sylvia is Joni's.
Okay. Do you know what they've seen? This is eyewitness account.
Edith says that she didn't see anything. Sylvia says that trip that Josh came out and announced to everyone. Was the announcement that you saw him naked? Was that the same year? Yeah, that was the same year that I saw the pool stuff and the kids in the bed stuff. Yeah, that was all that same year. Yes.
No, from what I remember, the pool and you was the year prior, where he said that she walked in on him when he was showering or something.
And she witnesses what he said to her, right? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Sylvia.
So we talked to her yesterday, and we said, because remember we were outside, and there's two versions of events, so we didn't know which one was true. So when we went to this letter, we asked her, we said, hey, were you there? Did you see what happened? And she said, yeah, I did see what happened. And
Go ahead. She said that she saw go upstairs and Josh followed her upstairs.
Yeah, she said that. She said.
So this is going to get very important. Just briefly coming in here, because I know you want to hear the video, but Julie Royce will have the full interview that the police did with Sylvia this week. This is the first mention, basically, of the housekeeper. Take a look.
That she heard her say, I want to go swimming. Susie said, okay, Josh was there in the kitchen or something. Susie said, okay, go upstairs and go change. And she went to go change, and then Josh followed. And that was one of the reasons why we wanted to talk to you, because that just confirms to me that something's off.
Well, then she also said that same trip that she saw Josh,
this
which
too.
is the first time I've ever heard this was yesterday, so less than 24 hours ago, that she saw Josh floating with in the pool and kissing her on her neck, in her face, in her head, incessantly.
And she remembers thinking, why would you do that? She's just a baby.
She
and
was
that's
like
weird.
3, 4.
3 at the time, yeah.
So where did this take place?
On one of those trips, I
In
can
the
So
pool.
Florida.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we wanted
This
to
is
come
when
back.
he had the easiest access to her that was like not, alarming. And so that's why I think all these things were happening in those moments. I don't know what was happening while we were here in Texas because it's a lot more compartmentalized here. We never saw any of them
Because we're
outside
never
of
with
work.
them, but we were all there together. And when I heard that from her, it just solidified for me at the time that when it all went down, I do think my initial thought was that he did do something. But because of all the years and because of the two version of events and just honestly, I have trust issues with people on both sides of the situation. I did, it's taken a while to gather our thoughts, and going back to this letter and then talking to her, it just confirmed to me what my gut said all those years ago. And so, because I told him, I said, if you heard someone say, go up and change, why would you follow them up the stairs?
Yeah, it's just, okay, I'm confused now. Is this the one where he had his son with him?
Yes.
In
Israel, in theory, he didn't have him with him?
We don't know. We were outside.
So I just want to highlight, this is why Rebecca and JW are now kind of letting their guard down, because it is highlighted to Rebecca why she had such a strong gut feeling all that time ago, because now they're talking and have spoken to Sylvia, and they're realizing what Sylvia said, that she's telling them she saw Joshua follow her up. That's what they just said. And this is very alarming to them. I want you now to pay a bit of attention to the lawyer freaking out. Joni Lamb's lawyer, he's about to have just a little, it's a very controlled little meltdown, because all of a sudden, all of the pieces are flying out. And he's like, so you talk to who and who and who? Okay. And this guy, obviously lawyers, I mean, this is why they get a bad reputation. They don't care about the truth. They care about protecting their client, in which case this is Joni Lamb and the Daystar empire. That's what he's trying to protect. Watch this.
Well, probably.
That's why it is confusing.
And that's why we haven't known, it's been so hard for us to navigate because of all the other stuff. But if when we go down to the bare things.
I do think that Jonathan Lamb came out and did say that yes, Josh had Judah, his son, with him at that time at the scene of the naked.
But in my mind, there's no, to me, I don't understand. And everyone's like, well, he wasn't doing anything. Well, Jonathan ran up immediately after him. I don't think he had time. Which I don't know. But I'm just saying, why would you follow someone upstairs if you heard someone say that? So to me, it's suspicious.
The other thing that Sylvia said yesterday is that when they went down to the family, or when Josh and Rachel, Jonathan and Susie, Marks and Joni went down to the basement after the incident to try and restore, repair, whatever. Israel and went with Sylvia out to the pool, and Israel said that
I don't remember what she said.
Yeah, she said that
What did he say? It was something like
Josh and I were naked in the same room, which is even different than what the story that John and Susie are. So it's I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to the kids, but
I have it's a little more difficult process to talk to the kids.
I bet, yeah, I can only
but I'll probably reach, if you can send me her contact info.
See, okay, here's the thing. She is absolutely terrified to talk to anybody.
Okay.
And she was very upset that I had her included in that letter. Again, the letter, I was never meaning to, get anyone in trouble with this. It was just what I had, So I don't know how to do that because,
Everyone's afraid.
She's terrified for, her job and her livelihood and...
Well, ultimately, you guys know her better than I do. But if she could have any kind of, anything that could help further this case, whether to show that he did something or not, I think it would be beneficial. I mean, it's for a child, so.
I know.
Yeah. And it sounds like she might have a close relationship with that child, too.
Yeah, I mean, she did. It was all kind of a family thing, so.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you could talk to her when you see her next.
Yeah, I'll talk to her.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So does she know that you all had her listed in this thing?
Yeah, because
We
I
told her
said
yesterday.
I'm going to go talk to a detective.
Okay. Right.
No,
I thought we were trying to keep all this.
she found that out yesterday.
Okay.
And then we found out yesterday she confirmed a version, you know, and I trust her.
Okay.
So
Well, let me continue on a bit. Did y'all tell Edith and everyone else too? About our damn been included in this?
Yeah, I asked Edith if she was.
I thought we were trying to keep all this
On the down.
low profile, if you will.
As low as we possibly can with getting to the bottom of it.
yeah,
I'm sorry?
As low as we possibly can with getting to the bottom of it.
which Edith said she didn't see anything. So
So you're gonna talk to Sylvia too. And what is her title again?
She's just a cleaning lady.
For
Joni.
does Joni know?
No, and that's why
about
she's
this?
terrified.
Did he says, did Joni know? Did it sound like that, Marcia, to you, it sounds like JW saying, yeah, she's terrified. I think he said she's terrified. Yeah, yeah. So basically, everyone, of course, everyone's terrified. Now, why would Joni ever be terrified about someone that is in the vicinity of anything telling the truth? I guess no NDAs and. Yeah, you thought the maid was terrified? Is there any way to replay that clip?
Can we, because I got
Yeah.
the last 3 words, she is terrified. So
Yeah. Who's
we
terrified?
should- yeah.
Okay.
We should clarify.
Let's
that.
listen again, everybody.
And what is her title again?
She's just a cleaning lady.
For
Joni.
does Joni know?
No, and that's why
about
she's
this?
terrified.
I think it's Joni. Yeah, we all think it's Joni. Okay, so here's what's happening, everyone. This is it. We've all had a collaboration here in here. I think Joni's terrified of someone telling the truth about what did she see. Sounds like she saw Joshua going up the stairs, just like Susie said. You know, when Susie went running down, it was just so weird. Oh, it's so weird the way that she's saying, you know. Is it because Joni's father is basically a bit of a predator as well? Has anything ever happened in Joni Lamb's life where she just has shut down and it's like abuse is normal or weirdos are welcome? I don't know. But any dude, like, I don't know a guy. I don't hang out or function or I'm not around anyone, any man that a mom says, hey, go up and get in your bathing suit, and the man follows the little girl up to the bedroom. The officer is hearing all of this. The lawyer's freaking out. Do you know why? Because it doesn't look good. Because Joni Lamb's perspective has always been speaking whatever her son-in-law had to say. And her son-in-law might be a son predator, allegedly, maybe. And everyone's kind of going, oh my God, oh my goodness. And none of this could come out unless they'd shut down the case. Let's continue. Do you hear heavy breathing? The lawyer, he's like.
but she saw something sketchy on her own too that we didn't see with her. So it's like all these different accounts. I mean, it's something. I mean, I know it's not.
Smoking gun, but
So stop there. Okay, she saw something sketchy on her own. Mark that, everyone. Remember this moment. The maid saw something sketchy on her own. I'm certain that we'll be hearing about that. I hope. I haven't seen the tape. Julie Royce will be presenting that this week. And I hope this detective is going to be asking about that. I don't see him taking notes, but Rebecca just said something very important. The house cleaner saw something very sketchy on her own. Wait for it. Keep going.
Every bit helps regardless in either way, so.
Yeah. You just say what you know and.
Okay, pull me in here for a second. This isn't very long. I want to say something because my husband was saying, does Rebecca's shirt look strange? I mean, what's happening? Just on behalf of Rebecca, that we don't have in any of the clips, is she has a new baby and she was breastfeeding. So she has like a pump or something, and that was on another part. And mothers all know about this, and a lot of women might go, oh, I know what that was happening, but it looks like that her shirt's a bit odd looking, a very strange brassiere. So that's not what it is. She's just doing the mom thing, that's all. Okay, keep going.
This is long, babe.
I don't know.
I thought it was gonna be like a.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Honestly, I never thought.
It was my goal. My goal this year is to read more books.
You don't need to apologize for it. We were trying to make sense of what was going on.
Yeah.
You were getting all your thoughts down. It's like when you
I never
journal.
touched it again since, so there's never.
That's why there's spelling errors. When I
cleaning
started
up.
reading it, I was like, oh, and then I realized, because this was never a formal letter. It's like when you have an iPhone, you just jot all your thoughts down like a
Notes,
journal.
yeah.
That's literally what that is.
So they're just talking about how long JW's letter is, which is
So I guess
great.
you referenced Denise Boggs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess was she a counselor for the family?
Yes.
And before all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
she was involved through the whole spiel.
Gotcha.
Okay, so basically, Denise Boggs was a very important part of this, and we've had Denise Boggs on, and Denise and Debbie Lenhart, in as careful a way as they could say it, they smelled a rat, and they framed it very carefully when I spoke with them on this show. We have one final clip to go through with you. Let's roll it.
I can see some relevancy in a lot of it, just for documentation purposes. Do you know the process with getting the Attorney General to redact stuff for public records? Because there is a process, but.
Yeah, so that's a long process.
Yeah.
It's it'll take weeks or months that happen.
I mean, my concern is transparency. So if we redact anything, people are going to come out and accuse us of being corrupt and all that stuff again. So, just saying, there's both sides of everything. So I was just curious, is there a way to get the full unredacted copy, but get it redacted after the fact?
Say that again?
Like, is there a way to get this copy, but get it redacted for public records purposes? The Attorney General or something, that's what I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'd have to check in it because I know that's a long process to do that. Yeah, I was just hoping you'd be able to, as you said, on the phone, look at this, review it, and then be able to quote from it, or perhaps even as used for you to follow up with anything necessary, such as, I think now you're saying,
Sylvia.
the Sylvia person. Have her interview.
It's just.
Yeah, that's such a good point,
I'm thinking
JT,
that.
if I'm on. Yeah, so in the background, we're all like, how can this not be immediately demanded as evidence? How is the lawyer able to say, well, redacted, and it's going to, thousands of hours we'll have to go into redacting it, and then, giving it back to you, and then just making sure that's all done. And, we were just hoping that we would just have what did the officer initially call it? We just say a quick and painless. Yeah, it's going to be quick and painless. And we just want it to be quick and painless, everybody. So we're just hoping that you would, kind of look, if you have any questions, if you have any follow-up, I mean, I think you're asking now, and I don't think you have really much more to say or anything like that, right? Like, this is almost over, isn't it? Like, is this huge document, this huge letter wherein Jonathan has stated many, many things that were like kind of, stuck out to him, and alarming, concerning, what was the word that Rebecca used? Well, I think it was JW, like they've been terrorized by this man. And so all of these things that have been placed in this letter, like, can't you, do you have any follow-up question? Why don't you just call us? Call us with the follow-up. I mean, this is the ridiculous part of what's going on right here. This letter, a lawyer, should understand. The police should be able to say, thank you for bringing it in, but we'd like this letter. I don't understand. And I do also know that 2 judges, they were given subpoenas or like some sort of asking, I don't know the jargon, but two judges were asked if they would write something that would make this letter compulsory to the case, and they said no. And I guess all I want to know is, have they ever been at the Lambs for dinner? Have they been to a Daystar thing? Do these 2 judges in the area know anyone? Why would they not think that if you're actually trying to track down a predator, that a witness case of some concerning and alarming things, especially a family member, that if he's written pages and pages, that would be important, and the police are actually asking for it? How is that not important? Why would judges not make sure, hey, just get this document released? Well, what is the problem? All of it just stinks. And now, it's all shut down. What? Okay, go ahead.
This is a whole thing. I mean, really the only bits I wouldn't need would be the Bible verses at the very end. There's some stuff that could be construed as, relevant. So,
Could be construed as relevant.
I don't want to get your stuff out there at all. And they got to do the whole transparency thing too, So I'm not trying to demand it right now.
Yeah, well, let me do this. Let me check into what that process is, because I haven't done that in years.
Okay.
But I do know the last time I did it, it took quite a while to get it done. Because when you send it to the AT's office, and
So long to do it.
have to vet it and everything, and get back with some preliminary opinions and then a final opinion about what can be and cannot be and all that.
Yeah. That it would be very helpful for the case just to have it, but I don't want to air your stuff out there, so that's the concern.
Okay, so
Because once the case is closed, they can.
It would be relevant. It would be important to have this document, but guys, I don't want to air your stuff, all out there. But yeah, some of these things, might be really relevant. And he even has asked for it to be redacted. So in other words, let's say there's stuff in the letter that JW now goes, you know what? It didn't even have any bearing on Joshua Brown allegedly having been inappropriate. Say there were those things. They've already said we would redact it. That's just not something he's willing to do. Apparently to the lawyer, this would just be a huge process. I mean, it'd just be so big to just sit down and redact, come to an agreement about, well, you know what, this part's not important, so we'll get it out. But these few things, these certain things that are actually do seem kind of relevant. I don't want to put anybody out. I'm not getting the lack of concern and intensity about what is going on here. All right, let's continue.
It's public.
Once the case is closed, every detail about the case can be requested publicly. But I'm not familiar with the process because I don't do the record stuff. But I know the Attorney General can, after the fact, can go back and redact certain aspects of things with if they approve it. So if you guys if I had this whole thing unredacted, you guys can contact the Attorney General and they can redact it for open record stuff. If that makes sense.
No, but I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Well, what does it take to close the case? Like an arrest or a non-arrest, basically, like where
You have to say, hey, there's no way to prove that he did it, or he's been arrested. So that's.
And you talked to John and Susie?
I talked to them on occasion. Yeah.
And are you going to talk to the kids? Are you waiting on them to be able to talk to them?
That's complicated. So, yeah, that's the best way I can put it. It's complicated. There's a lot to it. Some of it I can't disclose at this time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll check into all that and get back with you. So you are wanting to follow up with Sylvia?
she might just say she's too scared to talk to you.
Okay.
So if you haven't,
I wouldn't be doing my job even halfway decent if I didn't try to talk to her.
Yeah, I get it. And I have a feeling that you're gonna ask that. You know what?
If Sylvia comes forward.
I think best
Thank
bet
you,
is you
Sylvia.
just ask her. She'll meet with
I'll
him.
talk to her.
Yeah.
I have no issue asking.
I had two other questions I was going to ask either one of you guys, whoever get it. Can I get a copy of that NDA? Like, it doesn't have to be a signed copy or anything. I just want to know what it entails.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the other side is claiming it's NDA for this stuff.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
not. It's
That's-
really basic, right?
I mean, it's just
That's
a
fine.
regular executive NDA. That's
Yeah, I just wanted to read it.
Sure.
See, but another thing, you guys mentioned that
Stop
you
there for a
had-
second. Yeah, it's the NDA, whether you sign this, Jonathan, or basically you're off the board. It's no big deal. I mean, it's just a regular executive NDA that, everybody signs these. But my gosh, like either you do it or you're done, These NDAs, first of all, they can not, I believe, be used to cover up sexual inappropriateness, but nonetheless, the NDAs, don't cover this. So it's good. Everyone's on the same page. Keep going.
some other friends that said Jonathan was doing this to kind of climb the corporate ladder. Would any of those friends be willing to talk to me about it?
And what would that matter? What friends say? So here's the officer asking, can we talk to someone else? Because maybe Jonathan was trying to, climb the corporate ladder. Like, it's just, that's hearsay. Who are these people? Do they even know Jonathan? Like, have they talked to each other? They have some kind of evidence that Jonathan's not climbing the corporate ladder. Jonathan is the heir apparent, So I don't know, just like not thinking. I don't get it. Keep going.
No, that's a good question.
I think even if I don't trust their motivations 100%, I do think something happened to her.
Yeah.
And I mean, she was scared to come to Daystar. She was affected. Something happened, and I do think something probably happened here.
Here being Daystar.
No, I think in Colleyville. Probably their house or something.
Oh yeah, that's for sure where it happened. Is Colleyville. Because
That's where they all live.
I don't know. I just would have to think about that.
Just ask them. I mean, I'm not looking for names or anything right now. Just
Right.
see if they're open to it.
Okay. You think about it and
Yeah, we'll
let
talk.
me know about Sylvia too.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do what we can.
Okay.
Well, we'll do it. Not just what we can. We'll talk.
Yeah. And the letter would be helpful. I'm not going to reference it at this point, but if you can see if they would redact it or anything, then I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, let me look into that. Okay.
So what are the implications if we just give him the letter? Basically, is that I'm putting myself out for when the case is closed.
When the case is closed, if
the social
somebody
media
wants-
trolls can get it and then do a whole thing with it.
say this is what that letter was, and
Well. Okay.
So do we have like a time frame on this kind of stuff? 'Cause-
I prefer it sooner than later. I'll say that.
You mean a time frame on if this
Like
is
getting
back
back
to
charged
ground.
and like dealt with.
Oh, you talking?
Oh, what man? That
Getting,
depends. That
getting
depends.
Josh charged and dealt with.
That depends. I mean, if I get all the pieces of the puzzle, then I can give more of a definitive answer on that. But as of right now, I can't tell you like it's gonna be this day, this time, or anything like that.
Yeah.
So some of these cases, this is not my longest standing case. I have one that's been going on for a long time, and I got some that are immediately get the case, they get arrested right then. So it depends. There's a lot of information in this whole thing. If you guys have done it, so
Yeah.
a lot of people involved. So.
It was adulterers. Wait, counts.
Okay, do you have anything else for Detective
We
Nick?
just need the truth, not all the noise, the truth to come up
Yeah.
and dealt with.
Yeah, there's
That
a lot
would
of
be
noise.
good.
So.
Yeah,
There's a
I
lot
don't
of
want
noise.
noise. I just want to bring what's true and get it handled. However, it's supposed
And
to
because
be
we're
handled.
living in it right now, you know,
Well, and
it's
if
getting
there's-
really tiring.
Well, yeah, and the reason why for us is that regardless of everything that's going on and all the things that go along with it, if he is a pedophile and he is doing this, we need him dealt with. Period. For our niece and for
As a
any other
society.
kid, you know, and so that's why we're bringing everything that we have.
No, I completely agree with you. And on the other end of that too, if he didn't do any of this stuff, I want to clear that up for you
Exactly.
guys and the family. So.
Yeah, we just want whatever.
Yeah, like have we seen this polygraph?
Have you seen the polygraph?
That's not admissible in court. I mean,
Yeah.
but
They just keep referencing it to us as like
As
this incredible thing
proof.
that keeps him clear.
okay.
Is that even true?
I don't know enough about polygraphs to tell you that or not, but I don't ever go that route for polygraph or stuff. So
Okay.
Just want to say that I think that was just a little, JT, they were asking, weren't they? You were kind of saying, like, just want to know if you've actually seen it or not, or is it true? She's actually questioning the polygraph, if it actually happened. I think it's such an important moment. And I didn't feel like the officer was even totally answering. Like, where is the polygraph? What questions were asked? Is that the next piece of evidence that should come out? Because if the case is closed, where's the polygraph? I'm going to text Jonathan and Susie about that right now. Okay, let's finish this
I will
out.
talk
But
to them and
All right, Doc. Detective, thank you. Appreciate your time. Appreciate it. Yeah. You have my cell number, of course, and reach out to me, and I'll do the same thing.
okay, yeah. I guess the next thing is if you guys just give me the NDA.
Yeah. NDA.
I want to say that Susie has just sent me a text, and she is saying that they realize and are understanding that without Becca JW convincing Sylvia to come forward, she would never have spoken out. And it's also Susie's parents, who are beautiful people who have helped this process. But I am grateful right now for the truth that Rebecca and JW want to see coming out. And Jonathan and Susie are grateful for that as well. I am going to read a very long comment. The comments are so good. People see what is happening. So there's a comment that I think it might be on Julie Royce's thing. And Julie has been contacted by the Daystar lawyers, but it's not, there's nothing they have to do. So I'm going to read a very long comment that Susie thinks is quite good. I feel compelled to post this again to testify to the difficulty of getting a perp behind bars. Jonathan and Susie called the police earlier than the incident at the beach house, and what they learned is what everyone else in this shocking situation learns. If the child won't speak at will, and they don't, be perfectly clear they can't, They don't have the verbiage. Are not able to speak. And unashamed, they aren't. Police can do nothing. So the police need something, is what they always say. Law enforcement cannot arrest a person without evidence. Evidence is not a grown, dressed man in the bedroom of a naked child. Recall also that Pete, who we now know is Joshua Brown 100%, earlier related a tale that the child walked in on him naked in a bathroom. This likely was confessed because something happened and Pete was afraid she'd tell. Do y'all remember that? She walks in on Joshua Brown and he feels he has to tell the parents because who knows? All right. So Joshua Brown was afraid she'd tell. So he set up an I was naked story. A pediatrician may be able to say a child was penetrated, but by whom is not possible. So, stuff like that, it doesn't necessarily leave any traces behind. Here is exactly what it looks like to get testimony from a fearful child who doesn't even fully understand what happened. The child is not permitted to sit on mom's lap while explaining what happened. The child is not permitted to hold on to mom or dad. The child cannot be asked leading questions such as, did Pete touch you in your privates? The child has to sit in front of a camera and confidently describe what happened and name the person who did it. You know what I mean? They look at this as you can't lead them in any way. So there's all kinds of challenges to actually getting the evidence out. The child barely understands what it is, just that it's wrong. If the mother is off in the background, then the child keeps looking to the mother and father. A video cannot be used, as it will be argued by a defense attorney that the child was being led. Anyone who has been around children knows they look to their mother if you ask them their age. Aunt Lottie asked, how old are you, JJ? Tell her how old you are. In a situation of SA, children feel shame and don't understand why. To those thinking they have all the answers with, why didn't you call the police then and there? They had been down that road, as in Jonathan and Susie had been down that road. Please reread the report and listen to the timeline. Little Lamb, which is what I am calling Susie and Jonathan's daughter, had told her mom or tried to explain something that happened to her. She used her own tiny hands to demonstrate. She didn't name him, but rather described him, taller than Daddy, if you remember that. So know that this is very, very common. It's so common for them to be somewhat vague that family or child services often removes the child from the home until they are certain it's not the father, and the child maybe is afraid to name him. That is fact. It becomes parents and children's nightmares, which is why such a high percentage of CSA abusers go free and never end up on the list and are left to abuse again. Susie and Jonathan did exactly what a social worker would have told them to do. Watch her reactions around friends and family, because it usually is friends and family. Susie inquired at the child's school. They began to suspect Pete based on Little Lamb's reactions. Jonathan's sister Rebecca and her husband JW, according to the testimony, advised them to watch out because of Pete. They'd witnessed inappropriate behavior, as we saw today. The child was abused, and the abuser was getting outed in the way they usually are, by putting the pieces together. The parents would have also been in shock if the abuser is a close family member. People wonder how they couldn't know that. Him, really? The grandmother, grandfather, there's such deep denial about family members, okay? And then it says the family, especially Joni, thinks they know Pete, the son-in-law. She knows him, doesn't she? The one who was there when Marcus died. The one who was watching Marcus as he died. Marcus 2 days earlier had said everyone's name in the family except for Joshua Brown. He was not included. Interesting. Everything's so interesting. When you have a multi-million-dollar business to protect, you have one more big reason to shield your own mind. The family, especially Joni, thinks they know Pete. They don't know Pete. Pete's wife doesn't know Pete. They will be outed or do it again to someone else. It's inevitable. Pete's wife will be heartbroken now or later. It's inevitable. The grandmother will be horrified mostly by her own lack of action when it was needed. Little Lamb will recover from the violation because she will be able to comprehend that he is at fault, not her. But she will struggle her entire life with the fact that loved ones didn't protect her. I have been speaking out on this because I believe with my whole heart and mind that it's true. It's just way too familiar. The pattern is there. You are victim shaming to do anything other than believe Little Lamb. And we do. And we do. And so that is a comment that was left. We do say as we close that it's all allegedly. We do say that we are not going to be sitting in the place of the police, but we do, I personally believe that some things, a lot of strings have been left not tied together. And personally, I think this should be reopened. We will hear from others, including Joshua Brown, and we pray that justice is done. I'm going to close very quickly with an ask that you would pray that the Lord God would open the eyes of everyone who needs their eyes opened, and that we will see justice in this situation. All of the allegations are alleged. We say this to protect ourselves, but there's one thing that's been pretty clear from the very beginning, and my dogs wants me to be done here, but from the beginning, we've seen that there was too much for it not to be looked at, and the people that have overlooked it is Joni Lamb herself, and we know she's overlooked an awful lot. If you watch the show, a lot more things that she's overlooked. So we leave you today with all of that. Thank you very much for joining us. God bless, and we will definitely see you again.